There is a need to consolidate, merge, or abolish some of the existing programs and units. We have taken the important first step of clustering or merging units with overlapping activities. We clustered the many departments, institutes, and centers of the College of Agriculture into 4 units. We also abolished and merged some other UPLB units. It is desirable to further cluster into a single college all units in agriculture and related fields. A good model for this is the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences at Cornell University, or the one at the University of Tokyo, or that of Seoul National University. The activities in agriculture, veterinary medicine, forestry, and related disciplines are housed in a single college. The remaining academic units can be clustered into 4 colleges: engineering and agro-industrial technology, physical sciences, social sciences, and arts and humanities. The graduate school should be abolished. After all, the graduate programs are administered by the departments offering the programs. Moreover, the present arrangement contributed to organizational disharmony. Examples are the establishment of the College of Public Affairs and the School of Environmental Studies and Management, despite the fact that those units have no undergraduate programs and that their graduate programs are, organizationally speaking, administered by the graduate school. There are compelling reasons to cluster into one faculty the colleges and units in the social sciences. This pooling of faculty resources and facilities will lead to clearer trust and abolition, merging, and or refocusing of existing programs and services. The College of Economics and Management, CEPOP, and some units of the College of Human Ecology and College of Forestry can be included in this cluster. This will help UPLB to rationalize or refocus the activities of CEPOP without necessarily weakening those of the College of Economics and Management. Arrangement governing linkages with other institutions should be reviewed in terms of mutual enhancement of efforts and capacity towards excellence and relevance. Compliance by all parties concerned with guidelines or provision designed to minimize competition for funds and differences in the interpretation of the terms of the Memorandum of Agreement by partner institutions on matters relating to the use of university human and physical resources must be made mandatory. On policy reforms, in addition to the up or out policy and tenure policies, the other policies that invite closer scrutiny include those on admission, promotion, academic linkages, use of savings, intellectual property rights, responsibility and control over land grants. Delegation of powers and performance evaluation should also be looked into. Due to space constraints, I will only briefly mention my concern on the policies on admission and promotion. The expansion in the curricular offerings of UPLB and other autonomous campuses of the university led to similar program offerings in some campuses. To avoid having different admission criteria for similar curricular offerings or programs, it was decided to adopt uniform system-wide requirements into all BS programs of the university, based mainly on the UPCAT score and a quota system. Cut-off scores in the UPCAT were set for the various programs. Presently, UPLB sets admission quotas for its various programs. It also has flexibility in filling up the quotas of undersubscribed programs with interested applicants who scored 2.8 or better in the UPCAT. Moreover, it has a 2-year certificate in forestry program, which does not require the UPCAT. This program serves as a backdoor into the BS forestry program. Without it, enrollment in the BS forestry program will drastically be reduced. The emphasis of the UPCAT on language, science, and math proficiency and high school grades favors graduates of good secondary school. Such schools are usually in the large urban centers. This is one of the reasons why nearly half of the enrollment of UPLB come from Metro Manila and the surrounding areas, and not from the poorer areas of the Calabarzon region as expected. Although UPCAT has provision to rectify the imbalance in the regional distribution of qualifiers and to a certain extent correct the bias towards graduates of elite school, it may be desirable to give UPLB flexibility to devise different but more appropriate provisions for curricular programs that are unique to UPLB, example, the BS in agriculture. Promotion has always been a source of dissatisfaction and, to a certain extent, demoralization of the faculty. This is because the transition that accompanies shifts in promotion policies are usually not very smooth. There are also problems over interpretations and implementations of policy. At UPLB, a faculty is required to render 12 credit units of teaching service. Part or all of these teaching duties may be substituted by research and extension, authorized graduate studies, and administration. Yet, in the recent merit promotion, where faculty members competed for points, combined teaching performance and service were given only a weight or cap of about 40% of the total points possible. Thus, a faculty member who is a good teacher and who concentrated his activities on teaching must render considerable years of service before qualifying for merit promotion. There has also been a tendency to apply criteria or policy for promotion retroactively. Many faculty members who worked hard in the past to earn well-deserved promotions on the basis of the then existing criteria find themselves deficient in points to meet the requirements, such as the modified minimum qualification standards, for their present ranks under the new criteria. Applying this new criteria retroactively, as in the case of MMQS, is grossly unfair to the faculty members concerned. This practice is not only unfair, but is open to abuse, as it can be used to discriminate against some faculty members. Let me now move on to manpower planning system. UPLB should continue to improve its manpower planning system. It should routinely identify manpower gaps, training needs, and overlapping activities. The system's primary goal should always be to continue to enhance professionalism and to ensure that competencies and qualifications for each job match. Through retrenchment and by natural attrition, the university should cut down excess manpower and strive for a more reasonable balance in administrative to academic personnel ratio. Sometimes in 2005, we converted many administrative items into faculty items without necessarily filling them up. We reprogram our salary savings for additional maintenance and operating expenses, more financial aid to students, and for better services and benefits to UPLB constituents. On efforts in generating funds and in optimizing use of resources. Experience has shown that it is possible to increase the revenues of UPLB by 25% each year. We did it by putting a system of transparency and accountability in place and taking important initiatives in optimizing the use of our resources. We cut down wastage by at least 50%. The total UPLB investment increased from about 456 million pesos in 1999 to about 1.2 billion in 2004. On UPLB governance, the role of leadership is to mobilize the manpower and other resources around a strategic vision, foster a favorable work environment towards the fulfillment of that vision, generate resources and use this efficiently, inspire adherence to an accepted code of ethics, and look after the welfare of the university constituents. The emphasis in governance should be the following. 1, improvement in the quality of instruction. There is a need to address the root causes of deteriorating quality of instruction. These include limited intellectual interactions, lack of clear-cut trust, unfavorable policies, lack of financial support and incentives, lack of control and focus of faculty development, poor teaching facilities, and absenteeism among faculty. From 2000 to 2005, we fast-tracked the modernization of laboratories and classrooms, library and other facilities. We repaired, renovated, and constructed buildings such as the Multimedia Center, the Electrical Engineering Building, the College of Veterinary Medicine Laboratories, the Molecular Biology buildings, this new auditorium, the CAA Annex, and the Centenary Field House. On delivery of basic services, maintenance of peace and order, health services, power supply dependability, drinking water quality, and student facilities must be improved. The objective is to increase professionalism. Increasing professionalism, greater efforts at monitoring and evaluation and proper planning will go a long way towards improving basic services. Greater harmony, synergy, and transparency in administrative processes and functions will not only cut down the cost and time overruns, but also improve the delivery of basic services. The issue of autonomy to units. Although top management must have prerogatives in key decisions, it should trust the judgment of those who are effectively doing frontline administrative duties. They are in the best position to know certain information about their units. Finally, on leadership. These are times for bold, more decisive, and action-oriented leadership based on conviction rather than on governance purely based on precedents, recommendations of committees, or aversion to risk. Decisiveness should not, however, be achieved at the expense of transparency in decision-making and the need for democratic consultation. The records will show that there had been instances in the past when we exercised our duty based on the rule of law. For instance, we zealously protected academic freedom from insidious attempt to impose on our students and faculty sectarian interests, including religious and political dogmas that run counter to one's freedom to seek truth. We strictly enforce adherence to policies and regulations and went against colleagues who crossed the gray lines between what is right and what is not. We reaffirm our commitment to social responsibility and excellence through discipline, conviction, and courage to do what has to be done. On transparency and accountability, the processes of selecting deans, directors, promotion of faculty, reps, and administrative staff, and granting of chairs and other awards should be transparent. The accountability and extent of authority of those holding staff functions must be clearly defined. The relationship of the university with the UPB Foundation should also be clarified. On community service,